Hello everyone, thank you for clicking on the video. Today is a travel guide video all about the beautiful island in Greece of Paxos. I've not long returned from my third visit to the island, so while I'm in no way an expert, I've gathered together some information, some tips and things that you can do if you're visiting or planning to visit the island. I've got my notes here, so let's get into it. Paxos is an island located to the south of Corfu. It is one of the 7 Ionian islands on the west of Greece. Legend has it that the Greek god Poseidon wanted a secret hideaway to take his wife, so he struck the bottom of Corfu with his trident, and the bit that broke off became Paxos. It's a very small island. It's approximately 6 miles long and 2 miles wide, so it's easy to see the whole island if you are there for an extended period of time. So Paxos has no airport, so you need to fly to a nearby island and then get a boat across. The easiest way to get to Paxos is to fly to Corfu. From the UK it's about a 3-hour flight, and then you can get one of the ferry services over to Paxos. So the first option is to use the Camellia line service. I've used this one a couple of times, so you can book online, and I'll leave the website in the description box. Then you pick your tickets up from the stand literally located outside the arrivals at Corfu Airport, and they'll give you your ticket. And then you need to get a bus transfer, which is the bus picks you up from the stand outside the airport, which is about an hour to the ferry port, but it's quite a nice journey. It's very picturesque and you go along the coast, but yeah, it is about an hour, and then the boat is a 45-minute crossing. The boat isn't air conditioned. They do have fans inside, but there is space outside to sit at the front, and you can sort of be outside in the breeze. The cost is around €50 per person, but that is for a return trip, so going from Corfu to Paxos, and then when you've got to come home from Paxos back to Corfu, and that does include the airport transfer, so the bus trip. So €50 for 2 bus trips and 2 boat trips, so it's not too bad. When we went in May, there were 3 crossings a day, but in the height of summer, I believe the crossings do increase, like the number of crossings increase during the day. The second option is to use the Flying Dolphin, which is operated by Joy Cruises. So this boat leaves from Corfu Port, which is about 4 kilometres from the airport. So you need to get a taxi there, which is about €22. So obviously the more people you are, the less expensive it is per person. And then the crossing on the Flying Dolphin is, at the time of recording, about €35 per person for one way. So it's a bit more expensive. It's an hour's crossing, so it is quicker. So obviously with the bus ride and then the boat, that's an hour and 45 minutes, whereas this one is just an hour. So I've done this one once, and the boat was quite uncomfortable. Half the seats were broken, there was no aircon, and there's not really anywhere outside to stand, so you are stuck in this boat. And there are stories that it is prone to breaking down, but I think that is quite rare. But obviously then with this option you don't have the coach journey, so you've got to weigh up whether you want the slower, cheaper option or the quicker option without the coach. So yeah, I see both journeys are a bit of a pain, but I see it as a necessary evil in order to get to somewhere that is beautiful and definitely worth visiting. Okay, so now on to some general area information about the island. So both of the boat options bring you into Gaios port. There is a taxi rank outside on the port, however there are only about 5 or 6 taxis on the island, so you will need to pre-book. If you've booked a villa or an Airbnb, your host may offer to come and pick you up, or you can pre-order a car rental and hire a car for the time that you are on the island, and that way you will be able to get to your accommodation. There are 3 main towns on the island, which I will get to in a second. And it's not a place really with lots of resorts. It's mainly villas, sort of individual villas, but there are some hotels and apartments. So an example of this is the Bastos resort in Lakka. So I stayed here the second time I came to Paxos, and I booked that through Olympic Holidays, but you can also just book the accommodation on websites such as booking.com. It's very simple, basic, self-catering accommodation. So if you're looking to go out to eat every night, then it's perfect. And if you're going to spend your days exploring the island, then yeah, it's a perfect place because it's a simple room, but that's kind of all you need if you're going to spend most of your time away from the room. There is a pool with a pool bar that's very lovely. The pool is set up high above the hotel, so there are a lot of steps to get there, but the views from the pool and the pool itself are amazing. The hotel also offers a minibus service to transport you around to popular places on Paxos. So they offer one to the main town of Gaios, to one of the other villages called Loggos, and to one of the beaches called Monodendry, which I'll come to in a bit. Villas tend to be a bit more secluded and tucked away in olive groves. You can normally book these on Airbnb or through a travel agency, and because the villas are quite secluded and out of the way, some of them do offer or come with a car rental. So sometimes, yeah, it's definitely worth having a car. And then the weather on Paxos, I've been in May, the middle of June and at the end of August, and the weather has been mainly good. It's sort of been warm and sunny, but at the start of the season, so sort of the beginning to the middle of May, and at the end of the season, so sort of the end of August, beginning of September, it can get a bit wet, and when it rains, it rains. So the first time I went to Paxos, I did it as part of a sailing trip, and basically we were stuck in the harbour in the pouring rain, and I'll insert a clip, and yeah, the skies just opened and downpoured for about an hour, but then after that it does tend to clear up. So yeah, when it rains, it rains. So while Paxos is small, it is difficult to get around by walking. It's very hilly, it's very up and down, and so yeah, I wouldn't recommend not hiring a vehicle. So there are two main roads on the island that sort of run parallel to each other, and then lots of different side roads. The main roads are tarmacked and they're very easy to drive down. The side roads are okay, and then off those are the dirt tracks that lead to the villas, so they can be a little bit dodgy, but we managed to drive around down them without any problem. The easiest thing to hire would probably be a scooter or a quad bike. They're small and you can easily get around and get through all the narrow roads. However, we decided to go with a car, A, because it came with our package, our holiday package, but also neither of us felt comfortable driving a scooter. So yeah, we went with a car, and we got given a small Fiat Panda, which was very easy to drive, even though I had to drive on the other side of the road, but we managed it. There are two petrol stations on the island, one in Gaios and one on the road to a little, it's not a village, a little hamlet called Megazia. I'll put a little sign up so you know how to pronounce it. Petrol is expensive. We did about, oh god, not even 100 miles in the week, and it cost us 20 euros to fill up our tank. So yeah, we used not even a quarter of a tank, and it cost us 20 euros to fill up. Our hire car policy was that we have to return the car with the same amount of fuel as when we got it. So it was a full tank when we got it, and so we used about a quarter of a tank, and so had to make sure it was filled back up to maximum again. If you don't want to drive and you stay in one of the hotels, sometimes they do offer transport. They'll offer to take you around, they'll offer sort of shuttle services to different places, or you can hire a taxi, but as I've said before, there's only 5 or 6 on the island, so they are limited and you will need to pre-book them. There are free car parks in every village, but they are very limited. They're very small, and you'll find them with a blue P sign and an arrow pointing you to the car park. They are free, but they do get filled up very, very quickly. You can park on the roads. We did this a couple of times, and there seems to be mixed messages as to whether you're allowed to do that or not, but the locals seem to do it. But if you do get a fine, it's about €100, and you go and pay it in Gaios. So yeah, I think parking on the road is, like, to the side of the road is okay, but just basically if there's cars there, you're probably okay to park, and if there's no cars, probably try and find somewhere else. Okay, so I'll now talk about each of the individual villages. So as I said before, there's 3 main villages on Paxos. There's Lakka, there's Loggos, and there's Gaios. So Gaios is the main town in the southeast of the island, and it's based around a harbour front with lots of boats that are moored up. You get day trippers or people who have moored there for their time on the island. There's lots of cafes, bars, shops along the waterfront, and then in the middle of a town is like a big square with a beautiful church there. I've never been there when the church has been open, but yeah, I think it'll be lovely to go inside. There's lots of tavernas and shops that sells clothing and souvenirs, and then there is an amazing ice cream place along the harbour called Capriccios, and in the middle of the town, sort of just off the square, there is a gyros place where you can get a gyros wrap for about €5, so very yummy, and would highly recommend there. So the next village is the village of Lakka, which is located in the north of Paxos. This is my favourite village on the island. I absolutely love it. There's lots of alleyways with bakeries, shops, there's a supermarket, and then cafes and bars along the waterfront. There's also a scuba diving school, so if you're looking to do some diving, that's the place to go. There's lots of traditional tavernas serving delicious Greek food. So my favourite one is called I can't pronounce it probably, Neonias. It's located in the town square, and yeah, every time I've been to Paxos I've made sure that I go there. So you get given a table, and then you get given menus as well, but the owner then comes and takes you to the kitchen to show you what basically is on the menu for tonight. So there'll be lots of traditional dishes, like pastitsio or souvlaki, or I've forgotten what the other food is called, moussaka, kleftiko, saganaki. So yeah, he takes you in and he shows you all the dishes that are available. There's also lots of meat, lots of fish, and he's very enthusiastic, and he must do his little routine about 25-30 times a night, and I've never seen his enthusiasm wane once. So yeah, it's like a bit of a performance as well, watching what's going on in the kitchen. The service can be a little bit slow, and that's because obviously they cook your dinner fresh once you've ordered. So it's sort of very traditional Greek in that it's very slow, and you take your time and you chill and relax, but it's a nice way to sort of spend an evening. It does get booked up pretty quickly, so it is either recommended to book a table, or I think Paxos gets quite busy for food about 8 o'clock at night, so maybe go a little bit before to ensure you get a table. Next to Neonias is another taverna called Putemis. I'm probably pronouncing these wrong, and this is another one with lots of good variety of food. There's traditional Greek food, but then there's also some Italian food. So on our last night when we went, we just had pizza and some pasta. So yeah, went all the way to Greece for Italian food. But yeah, there's another nice restaurant. Not had a bad meal there yet. Then another taverna is called Alexandria, and this is tucked away down a little alley, and then it's got a lovely big space with lots of tables, and it's another family run taverna where again you get to go into the kitchen and see what's been cooking for the day, and the smells are delicious. And then another taverna is called Stasinos Garden, which is tucked down another little alleyway, and it's a lovely open air restaurant given the name, you sit in the garden, and again they do lots of good food, souvlaki, meatballs, moussaka, all traditional Greek food. So yeah, that's Lakka. It's a lovely little village. So it's a little bit smaller than Gaios, but it's still got a lovely atmosphere. And then after dinner, there's lots of bars along the waterfront where you can go and have a drink. And then finally, the third village is Loggos. So this is the smallest of the three villages, and it's located on the east of the island. This is situated on another harbour front, and it's got a small selection of tavernas and bars, and there's a bakery. This village is quite exciting because the road literally runs through the village, and outside a taverna. So if you're sat on one of the tables outside, you can high five people in their cars as they drive past, and good luck if the bus comes along. So yeah, the road is literally just wide enough for the bus. On one side you've got the sea, and on the other side you've got tables and chairs. So yeah, if the bus misjudges it, I'm sure it could be a bit of a problem. But yeah, Loggos is a lovely village. It's very quiet. There's only about 100 people or so that live in the actual village. But yeah, so it's definitely the smallest of the three, but still definitely worthwhile a visit for some yummy food. So now on to things that you can do around the island. So Paxos is famous for its beaches. There are so many on the island. The only downside is most of them are pebbly. So it is well recommended to get yourself a pair of beach shoes. So yeah, these were about €12, so they weren't expensive at all. And you can pick these up in any of the three villages. So yeah, well worth having these because all of the beaches on Paxos are stone. So my favourite beach is Harami Beach, which is just outside of Lakka along the harbour front. It's an organised beach. They've got sunbeds which they've just replaced, and they're really fancy now. They're like proper cushions and they're really comfy, and these range in price from 10 to 15 euros per bed. So I sat myself on the back row and was charged 10 euros, and then I heard the couple in front of me, they went to inquire about hiring a bed and they were told 15 euros per bed. So I think as you get closer to the front of the beach, you pay a little bit more, which I'm not sure if I agree with that. But yeah, so you're looking at 10 to 15 euros per bed, and that comes with an umbrella. The beach is pebbly, but this is the only beach on Paxos that once you get into the water, it's actually sandy. So while you still need your shoes, once you're in the water, it's sand, and the water is so clear, and it's just a beautiful walk to the beach. It's all through trees. It's a paved path, but the view of the trees and the harbour is stunning. There is a taverna on Harami Beach called Harami Beach Taverna, and this is good. They do lots of yummy foods. Had many a Greek salad there, and the food is lovely. It's reasonably priced, so yeah, well worth a spot there for lunch. If you go past the beach and you follow a path, and it leads to a track up to the top of the hillside, and there's beautiful views up there across the whole of the village. And then just a little bit further on, there is a beaten track that leads to a secret beach, which is well worth a visit. It's beautiful down there. I say it's a secret beach. I got given a walking map of Lakka, and it even had like secret beach written on it, but when me and my partner went to the secret beach, it wasn't secret because there was another couple there. So sometimes it might be empty, sometimes not. So I think the secret beach is no longer a secret. So back to Harami Beach, there are opportunities for snorkeling. It's okay. You can see some fish, you can see lots of sea urchins, so again, shoes are necessary. And there are rumours of an octopus hanging around the beach, but so I've been there 3 times and never seen it, so I don't know how true that is. But yeah, Harami Beach is well worth a visit. So it's pebbly, but once you get in the water, it's sand. There's a lovely taverna, and there are some sunbeds on the beach. The next beach that is well worth a visit is called Monodendry. This is on the east side of the island, close to Loggos, and this is another pebbly beach, and it is pebbly in the water, but the water is so clear. I think it might even be clearer than Harami Beach. Like, you can't tell where the pebbles, where the water kind of starts and finishes. It's just so clear. There are some sunbeds there. I've never actually hired one, so I don't know how much they are. And then there is a pool just off the beach where you can hire sunbeds. You do have to pay to use the pool. When I went there about 2 years ago, it was 25 euros for 2 beds and an umbrella, and then you had to pay 5 euros per person to use the pool. But then if you ate in the restaurant, you got that pool money back. So yeah, it's worth doing that to be able to use the pool, and then you can go down to the beach as well. The beach has got lots of rocks, so you can go rock climbing. We managed to see a crab sort of scuttling over the rock, and there's lots of fish, so there's some cool wildlife to see. And Monodendry is home to the famous Ben's Bar, which is all over Instagram, and sort of lots of people recommend to go there. I was not that impressed when I went there. I think it was very overhyped. I think if you are drinking, they welcome you with open arms. However, me and my mum just went there for lunch, and they sort of, yeah, didn't seem that bothered by us. Sort of, we didn't experience the hospitality that lots of people talk about, and we also met a lady who was travelling by herself, and they just basically stuck her in the corner and ignored her. So maybe they were having a bad day that day, but yeah, I think if you're drinking there, it's a lovely place to go. However, just for eating, maybe not. I get that they need to make money, but you know, I think they should be, you know, approachable to all their customers. However, I will say Ben's Bar does have a lovely view from the taverna. You can look out over the beach, so yeah, it's nice, but I think it is a little bit overhyped on Instagram. But Monodendry Beach as a whole is definitely well worth a visit. Then the next beach is I can't pronounce these names. Levrico. Again, I'll put the spelling up. So this is just outside of Loggos. You drive up through the village of Loggos, and then on the left there's a sharp bend with a hill down to the beach. Again, another pebbly beach, but it's got very clear water. There is a taverna there that is a good spot for dinner, and there's a large car park. There was about 10 cars already parked there, and still plenty of space for others, so well worth visiting here. And then if you want to, there's another beach about a 5-minute walk away called Mamari Beach. So there's no parking here, so you park at Levrico, and then there's signs to the beach. So yeah, it's about a 5-10 minute walk. There's no sunbeds on Mamari Beach, but there is good rock climbing and good snorkeling. So there's I mean, we only saw a crab and a fish, but when you Google good places to snorkel in Paxos, Mamari Beach is the one that comes up, so definitely worth a visit to there. And then the last beach I'm going to talk about is Eremites. So I've not been here, but again, this is another one that is all over Instagram. So this is on the west of the island, and it's quite tricky to get to. It's very remote, so you have to park, I think, basically in the middle of nowhere, and then walk down a track to the beach. Once you get there though, the beach does look amazing, but yeah, just never sort of ventured out to that side of the island. And this is the beach for the sunset views. So because most of the island is populated or inhabited on the east of the island, you don't get the sunsets. You do get beautiful sunrises, however. But yeah, if you're looking for somewhere for the sunset, Eremites is the place. There is a restaurant there called Eremites, which is quite handy, but this seems a bit of a bougie restaurant. So if you want a special treat or just to splash out a little bit, this is the restaurant to go to. But it doesn't serve traditional Greek food, it's more fancy. And yeah, the menu's online, so I'll leave it linked below. But yeah, I've not been here, so I can't make any judgment, but all I know is that it's good for the sunset, but it is pricey and a little bit bougie. And then some other spots that if you're not a beach person, that are worth visiting. So the first one is Tripitos Arch. So this is a rock formation that has formed an arch in the cliffs. So we parked in a village called Gaios, which is just outside of Gaios, and it's not really a village, it's more a hamlet, so there's not any official parking spaces, but we managed to park by a church, and then it was about a 15-20 minute walk to the arch. We used Google Maps, so we'd been told that there wasn't much signal, but Google Maps did work, and it sort of directs you up a sort of a small path, and then sort of about halfway there are signs to the archway, and then a sign back to Isaiah. So I'll leave a clip of what that sign looks like. So yeah, then you walk down a little track until you get to the top of a cliff, and the views are amazing. Even without seeing the archway, the views are just amazing. You can see over to another island called Antipaxos, and the views are just amazing. And then it's a bit of a scramble, so I definitely recommend trainers rather than flip-flops or sandals. So yeah, bit of a scramble down to the arch, but the views are amazing, and you can walk over the top of the arch, which is really cool, so you get a different perspective. You can't actually swim in the water, it's a big drop, but you can approach the arch by boat as well, so you can get to it that way. But I would recommend sort of doing the hike, doing the walk, and sort of walking over the archway. But yeah, it's very steep, and it's very rocky and shingly, and it's not the safest, so definitely need proper footwear for that, but well worth a visit. And then another popular thing to do is to hop over to the island of Antipaxos. So this is a small island south of Paxos, and this is where you get the sandy beaches, the turquoise waters. So yeah, if you're fed up with pebbly beaches on Paxos, definitely worth a trip to Antipaxos for the sandy beaches. So you can catch a boat from Gaios, and they do water taxis, like a shuttle service every day, and you don't need to book, you just turn up, buy a ticket, and then you can hop on. The first boat leaves about 10 o'clock in the morning, so it's worth getting the first one, but it can get busy, so you want to get there early to buy your ticket, but the boat won't leave until 10. So we paid £25 €25 per person for a return. So this is slowly creeping up. So on one of the restaurants on Antipaxos, there's a like a newspaper clipping from a review that someone did, and back then the water taxi was €10 per person, so it's now 25, so it's going up, which I know things get more expensive, but it does seem to be getting a bit too pricey. So yeah, that's for a return. It's only about a 15-20 minute boat ride, and it's pretty smooth. Yeah, and you just get to see the south side of Paxos as you do the crossing. Check the return times depending on the season. So I first caught the water taxi 2 years ago, so this was in the middle of July, and they basically just came back and forth every half an hour or so. So you didn't have to worry about which boat you wanted to get, you just hop on the one that you want, because they were quite frequent. But then in low season, so the end of May, beginning of June, the first return was at 2:30, and then there wasn't another one until 5 p.m. So you need to weigh up and think, hang on, which one do I need to get? So we weren't aware that there were only 2 returns. So, and yeah, if you miss the last one, then you're screwed basically. So make sure you get that last boat back. There are several different companies doing the water taxi, so you don't have to get on the boat that you came across with. You just show your ticket and you can get on any boat that you need. So on Antipaxos there are 2 beaches. There's one where you're dropped off and there's a little jetty, and then you walk down onto the beach, and then there's one just around the headland, which is a short half-hour walk up through there's a path the other end of the beach to where you get dropped off. It is quite hilly. I've learned that Paxos and Antipaxos are very hilly, so yeah, definitely need proper walking shoes for that, and take lots of water because there isn't any shade, but it's well worth the hike to the other beach. Both beaches have sunbeds. They're about €35 for 2 sunbeds and an umbrella, so it is quite pricey, but because the beach is sandy as well, you can just lay your towel down and sit there. On the beach that you get dropped off, there's a taverna called Spiros, and they offer a barbecue. So if you order a souvlaki or a burger or any form of food that needs to be grilled, they'll cook it on that, which smells amazing. And then they also do like your traditional Greek salad and bread and pita bread and hummus and tzatziki and little snacks. So you can either go full out on a meal or you can have a little snack. And then on the other beach around the headland, there is a restaurant called Bella Vista. I've not tried that one, but from reviews online, it looks really nice. So yeah, there's 2 different tavernas. Actually, I think there's more than 2 because there's 2 on the first beach. So yeah, there's a good choice for food there. The beaches do get busy from day trippers from Corfu. So Corfu offers a trip that does the Blue Caves and then Paxos and Antipaxos. So the boats come in about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and they'll stay there for lunch, but then they'll leave again about 1:30, 2ish. So it's only for a short period of time, but the beaches and the tavernas do get busy. So yeah, just bear that in mind if you're looking for sort of a quiet day. It's not necessarily the most peaceful day, but it is definitely well worth visiting the island. It is absolutely beautiful. If you don't want to take the water taxi, another way you can do it is to hire your own boat, and then there is a row of buoys separating where the boats can no longer go. So you'll need to buy a waterproof bag and some kind of flotation device to get your belongings from the boat to the beach, because you'll need to swim. It's not far, but you would need to be sort of fairly good at swimming in order to do that. So hiring a boat is, as I've just mentioned, another thing to do on Paxos, and then you can beach and cave hop along the east of the island. There's lots of beaches that you can't get to from the road. They are only accessible by boat, so that's another cool thing to do. And you can hire a boat from any of the 3 villages, so Lakka, Loggos or Gaios. You can hire a boat from any of those. I've not done this yet. It's something that I would like to do, but just have never got around to it. So I was speaking to someone this year, and it is around €100 to hire the boat for the day, and then about an extra €80 for petrol or for fuel. So it is pricey, but I think to have the freedom of being able to just hop about wherever you want is worth it. If you're not confident enough to drive a boat, you can hire a skipper to drive the boat for you, but obviously this would cost a little bit extra for their services. So thank you if you managed to get this far in the video. I hope I haven't waffled on too long. We'll see how long it is when I edit it. I hope that's given you a bit of a guide to Paxos, and that you found something interesting, and that any information there has helped. If you want to leave a comment, if you've got your own tips, feel free to leave them in the comments below, or if you have any questions, leave them in the comments box and I'll try to reply to them to the best of my knowledge. So if you are thinking about visiting Paxos, or if you've got a holiday there booked, I'm very jealous, and I hope you have an amazing time, And yeah, I hope I get to return soon. It is fast becoming one of my favourite places in Greece. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!